Hey everyone, I thought this would be interesting to share. I'm just in my studio doing some prints, some wild horse prints for some clients and a couple of limited edition things. And I've been searching for the sequence that I photographed last year. I got up really early one day to find some wild horses, which I did here. You can see it's like just about to be golden hour. It's very early. And the stallion started to get restless and herded all of the mares and babies over by this hill. And then about 5 minutes later, so he knew long before it happened, and they were all like huffing and like, whoo, these two came out of the bush. So the stallion and the herd was well aware of them, but they weren't yet aware of the horses. Then he realized that the horses were there, and that one retreated, and I thought disappeared, so he went away for a few minutes. But what he actually did was this bear circled back. So that bear circled back around here to where the to where the stallion had herded the wild horses. So that bear sort of circled around and came up on this side, and I realized they were, I guess, maybe trying to decide if they should ambush them or not, which fortunately they decided not to. The stallion was being very, very cool, very protecting his pack, and, hang on, where is he? So he was up here as the sun was rising, so he's staring at the bears there. And then, so yeah, I guess the bears decided not to ambush them from either side. So then the first one came back and they stood there looking, and at the same time the stallion is sort of like rearing up and pawing the ground like in a movie and sort of making this noise. And yeah, there was the horse, the rest of his herd that he was protecting. Oh yeah, actually so this was the other one that came around the other side and was looking back that way, as that one was looking this way. So they were like kind of sneaking to either side of the herd to decide what to do with them. And there's all the fillies all the foals and mares, like all astute, alert. I don't know, maybe that's some bear signal. He stuck his tongue out at them, maybe, I don't know. Had a big yawn, I don't know, whatever that means. So there was all the horses. Then, I guess they were trying to decide like whether the bears were going to go after the stallion or after the herd or not. So they sort of retreated a bit. But then the bear turned around and, like in the movies, went, roar! Like it actually sounded like a movie. Like he just stood up and like, roar! and the stallion sort of like reared up, pawed back. And I guess the stallion was more intimidating. Apparently it's very rare to see a mating pair of grizzlies. And so here's where the babies were over here. And that was the stallion. Or was that the stallion? No, the stallion was up here on the ridge, looking back at them, and then the bears retreated. So yeah, I guess that's the early bird gets the worm. I always tell people you're not going to get cool shots if you're not out there. So yeah, that's what happened that morning. Just out trying to get photographs at golden hour of this gorgeous little herd, because they had some little babies, and those cute little baby wild horses. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, it was like the most interesting visual communication. I've studied canine communication for over a decade, so I saw these really subtle signals of the stallion just sort of like pawed the ground, stuck his head up, tossed his head to the side, and all the females gathered around the babies and ushered them over to this area here. And then yeah, it was 5 minutes before these guys came out. And yeah, I think they were just chilling, and they were like, hey, wait a minute, should we take on these guys? I don't know. But yeah, pretty cool. Unfortunately, I didn't have the right lens on, so I couldn't get super good photos. But yeah, they're pretty neat still. Yeah, they were pretty scared. I wasn't sure who was going to win or lose or whatever. But yeah, the bears decided that they weren't going to take on the stallion and the herd, and away they went. And then back I went to photographing the wild horses. Oh yeah, there's the stallion. He was just, I guess, here, and then the picture I showed you, the females were, and the babies were over here. And then that exactly right about there is where the where these two guys came out. Like I said, one of them went around, circled back behind the stallion to see if they were gonna ambush them, and I thought I did have pictures of that somewhere here. Yeah, so here's the one that came around that side, so he just went into the bush, came around, circled back, boom. Then there's that one, as that one's sneaking back, and he's like, okay, so the stallion's up here, and yeah, pretty neat. So yeah, I was printing out some wild horse limited edition prints, and I finally found the sequence I've been looking for. Anyways, yeah, I just thought I'd share that because it's pretty fun, pretty cool. All these things that happen right around us in our backyard in Alberta. Anyways, I've got a really hoarse throat. I hope everyone has an awesome day. There won't be a podcast this morning because my throat is really sore, but I might release one that's pre-recorded. So anyways, have a good day. Bye!